I've had a lot of good luck, I think, in my life, and I think a lot of it has been hard work as well. But I think I have this underlying feeling sometimes that I just got a bit lucky and just fell into it, and I don't really deserve to be doing what I'm doing. And I think about that sometimes, and I think I lost a lot of confidence coming out of my job in law. I think I lost a lot of confidence at work in New York. And I think that's kind of continued a little bit through. I think I've got this underlying feeling sometimes that, that I'm not very good at what I'm doing, and that I don't deserve to be doing it.
Mm.
But I also know, and I remind myself often, that I have put in a whole lot of hard work, and a lot of that people don't see, I mean, the first year I was at the shop 7 days a week, 9 a.m. till 11 p.m, serving customers, and then around that, doing all the admin, doing all the cleaning, filling soy sauce fish. That's a whole other thing we could talk about. So I try to remind myself that, I've put in a lot of work, and, we do deserve to be where we are. But it's hard sometimes, I think, coming into something new and it going well, which is such a blessing, and I'm so grateful for. And I actually said to my boyfriend the other day, we were sitting on the couch and I looked at him and I was like, it really could have not gone well, and I didn't really think about that at the time. I am an incredibly either terrible or fantastic mix, depending on the way you look at it, of very naive and very optimistic. And I didn't really think through what would happen if it didn't work. I'm incredibly not risk averse for someone who is a lawyer. I'm very happy to take on risk, and I actually really, really never think through what could happen, which sometimes is a disaster and sometimes works out really well. And I don't think I would have done this if I wasn't like that. If you're a rational, risk-averse person, you're probably not doing something like this, because it is scary and it is a leap and it is a risk. But I think I am an incredibly optimistic person, and I just think everything's going to work out. And so far it has, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. But it has been a lot of hard work. It's been a lot of challenges along the way, but it's been the best. I love it so much.
Do you just actually on that, I wanted to press, do you feel like you're building something, Alex, or do you think you're running from something?
No, I feel like I'm building something. 100%. Yeah. I love what I'm doing now. And I love the business. I love the people I get to work with. And I genuinely just love running a business. I think actually it makes complete sense that this is what I'm doing. I always said, and I think a lot of people who know me would also say, people often, I think, were confused that I was a lawyer, like slightly perplexed that I was a lawyer. And I think that is probably fair. I think I don't have a lot of the traits of, most good lawyers. I mean, I love talking to people. I love, sort of being out and about doing things. I don't love sitting at a desk for a long period of time, not talking to anyone. And I am not risk averse. I love seeing people do interesting things and build things. And I got to see a little bit of that in my job. But I think I'm not sort of your traditional mold of a lawyer. I think in a lot of ways, this makes complete sense for me, this pivot. I've always been interested in, fascinated by businesses and interested in entrepreneurship. And gosh, I remember my dad. So my dad was he was a lecturer in entrepreneurship and innovation and strategy. And I used to go along to his classes as a child, like an actual child. And I was thinking about this the other day, and it must have been, in hindsight, so strange for his students, like master's students he was lecturing. And I would go along when I was like single digits, I reckon 8 or 9 years old. And I would sit in these master's, entrepreneurship lectures, and I would put up my hand. I would answer questions. I would ask questions. And I think they probably thought I was just very cute, which is what I would have thought at uni. Someone, a child would come along and thought they were, a uni student and was putting their hand up. But I've just always found it fascinating. I remember as a child with my dad, we'd be on holidays, we'd be on a road trip, and we'd be coming up with this business plan for this, fictional business. But I've always found it fascinating, and I think it makes complete sense for who I am and my personality to be doing this now. I don't mind being chaotic. My life is complete chaos, and I love that. I'm not a very routine person at all. I love that I get to do different things every day. People ask me often what my life is like, what my day-to-day work is like now. And I always tell them it's, complete mixed bag. Like one day, last week, for example, one day I went in and I was one of the chefs because one of our chefs was sick. So, I'll go from doing that to the next day. I was out in Queens looking for a used van, wandering around, used car dealerships.
So glamorous, this life.
Because we need a van.
Yeah.
And all sorts of weird and wonderful things. And I love that. Like, I really thrive doing that and doing different things every day and not having, a 9-to-5 desk job. My job wasn't exactly 9 to 5, but, having a desk job. Like, I love what I'm doing. I love the chaos. I love the possibility. I love thinking about things. I love thinking about amazing things we can do in the future and the ways we can grow. And, it makes complete sense.